For this project, we're going to be using HTV, which stands for Heat Transfer Vinyl. This is also called iron-on vinyl. When you put that on your mat, there's going to be a shiny side. That is the clear carrier sheet. That's what you're going to want down on the cutting mat, because this other side that is smooth and kind of has a waxy feel is the actual vinyl. So now you can see that I've already cut this, and this is going to be the green kind of half circle for the slice of the watermelon. And I like to cut things and then take it off my mat and then just grab some scissors and trim down that piece so that I'm not kind of wasting a bunch of stuff. If you need to run your finger over it or shine a light on the spot, but what you're trying to do is find the outermost portion of this design that your die cutting machine has cut, and then go just to the left of that with your scissors and just trim up. And then I'm going to turn it this way and find the design again, and then trim the vinyl horizontally, and then I have a small piece to work with instead of playing around with this big huge piece of vinyl. So let's get this set up. Now we're going to do some weeding. Weeding is when you remove the excess vinyl that you do not want to go on your finished project. I'd like to just poke in the corner with my weeding tool so that I get something started that I can hold on to. And then you can see as I'm pulling this away, I'm exposing the clear carrier sheet. So that's important because now you're going to have your piece attached to that carrier sheet. That's going to help you place things when you go to press it on. And I love that there's a clear carrier so that when you're doing layers of vinyl, you're able to see what you already placed on your project and then line up your layers. So now I'm just going to keep repeating this process with each color in my design. I'm going to find where the cut lines are for the actual design. Then I'm going to take my scissors and just kind of trim that down so that I am only dealing with a smaller piece. Save those scraps because I have lots of projects that I use scraps with, and you can always just save a separate box. That's all your scraps, and then maybe you just do a scrap buster type project. So now, once again, I'm weeding off the excess and then just leaving the vinyl that is going to go on the project. And now we're just going to repeat the same process again with the black. So find where your design is that your die cutting machine put into the vinyl, and then just trim that piece down. Because if you don't do this, what's going to happen is you're going to start to peel back or weed your design, and you could end up pulling a whole bunch extra that was like, oh, that was all just blank vinyl I could have used for a different project. And you don't want to do that. So I trim mine pretty darn close, but I've been doing this for a while. If you're having a hard time finding it, give yourself some more buffer room, because you would hate to trim things down and actually cut through your design. That would be bad. I left this part in here just to show you that even I am not perfect. So I should have looked at my design more closely and looked at where that little swirly tail was on the T and kind of pulled up with my weeding tool some of the vinyl that was right close in that loop-de-loop, because since I didn't do that, when I was pulling back the larger piece, the loop-de-loop basically got twisted. I did want to show you though how you could salvage that. So I'm just going to hook this little twirly thing and make sure that the T is laying down. At first I was going to try to re-smooth the whole thing down, but then I realized it had twisted and kind of flipped. So I'm eventually, you'll see it after I peel this part, I'm going to just trim off the end of that with a pair of scissors. I'm just going to trim that off. It's not going to disrupt the overall look of my design, but I left this in just to show you that everybody makes mistakes. And instead of getting all worked up about the mistake, just deal with it, go with it, and you can still salvage the overall project. To get those pieces out of the centers of my letters, I'm going to use a pin pen. It looks like a standard pen, but when you click it, a little pin comes out the end of it, and that allows you to just poke into those centers and peel those pieces out. I like it because it holds like a pen. Before having this, I used to use a straight pin, and that was hard to hold on to. Now it's time to start layering our vinyl. So what I'm going to do first is look at placement. I'm going to place the pink piece because that's the biggest main piece, but I want to make sure that this lettering isn't going off the top edge of my design or of my can holder. So once I have those stacked on top of each other, I can pick the whole thing up and kind of move it around so I can center it better and get it in a spot that I like. I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now, oops, now I moved the whole darn thing. That's okay. We just put it back. See, there's always solutions. But once I have the overall design placed, you could see how I was holding down the carrier sheet for the pink as I peeled away the black. So now I know that pink piece, which is the first color or first layer that I'm going to press on, is right where I want it. And now it's time to press that first layer on. So place it inside your press, put a piece of parchment paper over the top, and press for just a short time, because remember, we are going to add more layers, and that means more heat, and we don't want to melt the first layer when we're pressing the second layer. Read the directions on your package for your vinyl. Some say to peel this when it's hot, some say wait for it to cool. But no matter what, hot peel or cool peel, wait for the entire design to cool down before adding the next layer. I find that if you put that second layer on too quickly and then press it right away when the first layer is still hot, that first layer can sometimes start to melt. Also, when you're adding your second layer, because of that clear carrier sheet, you're able to look through it, and my eye is catching that over here on the right side, my green top is not aligned where I want it with the pink top. So I can peel that off. But because I let the whole thing cool down, it more easily peeled back off. If I had done this when it was still piping hot, it would have started to kind of already stick and adhere. So this would have been more difficult. So again, let the whole design cool before placing the next layer. I like the way that lines up. I'm leaving a little gap. In the SVG file that I made, there's a white layer that goes there, but since I'm pressing this onto a white object, I just left that layer out, which is perfectly fine to do. So now you see we're pressing the green layer, put it in the press, put the parchment paper in there, then do a short press, like 8 to 10 seconds at 360 degrees. And then I like to kind of shake the entire thing to help it cool off. One of my goals with this project is to help people Not be afraid of doing a multicolor design or a layered design. So now I peeled off the carrier sheet and it's still warm, so I'm just gonna shake it some more and kind of let it cool off. And I did blow on it a little to help cool it off too, because I didn't want to start to put the black layer on until this one felt cool to the touch, because it's so cute. I don't want to mess it up and melt one layer when applying the next. I want to point out here that I made the pink part of this design a solid piece on purpose, because now when I layer this black over the top, it doesn't matter where those little black Mickey Mouse icons hit, they're all on top of the pink. So it's all going to layer perfectly. Yes, you can stack colors right on top of each other. I have done up to 3 colors stacked on top of each other. It's just fine. So now it's back in the press, put the parchment paper over it, and this time I did do the press for 20 seconds because I'm trying to adhere everything. And when you take it out after it cools, you could take a look at it, and if you think it needs a little bit more time, go ahead and press it again for another 10-15 seconds. But since this is a can cozy and it's not going to go through the wash, then I'm not really that worried about the vinyl coming off. If I was doing this on the shirt, I might hit it again with the heat press. But I really hope this project showed you that layering is nothing to be afraid of. Look how easy that was. I just stacked the colors, letting each color cool in between. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I love to hear from you.